Welcome back to Sipa's Pimmer Garage. This time we are doing something that I thought I would never do, which is to convert my perfectly fine E36 manual BMW to automatic. Yeah, I generally hate the automatic cars because they lack the mechanical feeling of the actual engine driving the car, and the blame for that goes to these torque converters, these things here, or turbines, however you want to call these things. These work by sloshing around oil in this cavity here, so you don't actually have that mechanical connection between the engine and the transmission, but all the torque is transferred through the oil and some kind of plates and magic and what kind of spells these things have. I really don't know how these converters work. There's some plates in these that catch the oil and gets it moving and that kind of thing, so, but yeah, I'm not really expert on those and I don't really care. But because of all that oil sloshing, the automatic cars, they have been generally slower and consumed more fuel than the manual versions of the same cars. Because of course all that oil sloshing here, that will take out some power. So not all the power that the engine puts out, it's not transferred here on the transmission output, and of course that will also increase the fuel consumption. And then of course inside here there's a lot more happening than in the manual transmissions, so that will also take out some power. So yeah, there's several reasons why the automatic transmissions have been generally worse than the manual transmissions. Of course they are easy to drive and that kind of things, but we are not getting to that now. But that's how the things used to be. Nowadays these things, they have gotten quite far away from the old automatic transmissions that we got earlier. So far away that automatic cars are actually faster and consume less fuel than the manual counterparts. So yeah, these are quite different beasts than the old automatic transmissions. And you did probably read the title, so we are doing the 8HP swap to my E36. These 8HP swaps, these seem to have quite a big hype currently, so I wanted to try this out myself. The hype is not the reason that I want to try this out. The reason is that these are actually really great transmissions. These shift really fast. And the main thing compared to the old transmissions is that these actually have the mechanical connection between the engine and the transmission. So these feel more like manual transmissions than the old automatic transmissions did feel. Because if you look at this torque converter here, this actually looks a little bit funny, because here's the torque converter and there's this part here, which makes this much fatter or longer than the older torque converters. And this part here, this is actually wet clutch here. So this torque converter part, this is only really used to take off with the car. And once the car gets moving, this torque converter is not really used. The transmission uses this clutch here, and it works more like just automated manual transmission. So all the shifts are done with the... And this clutch here, this can actually handle all the power that the engine puts out. So you constantly have the mechanical connection between the transmission and the engine. And that's of course the main reason why these transmissions feel how they feel like. For example, when you dyno these transmissions, it's more like dynoing car with manual transmission, because you have the mechanical connection between the engine and the transmission output. But maybe that's enough of why I'm doing this swap. Let's move to the swap itself. If you want to know more about these 8HP transmissions, there's a lot of videos in the YouTube to watch in the subject. So yeah, let's move to the swap. This transmission here, this is HP 45 from N55. I think this particular one is from F22-235i. This is not my transmission. I already did install mine on the car, so this is just on loan from my friend to actually make this video. But anyways, I have the exact same thing. It's from different car, but I think all the HP 45 transmissions from the N55 engines, those are the same, so it really doesn't matter. But anyways, these HP 45 transmissions from N55, these are one of the maybe easiest transmissions to swap to the older M50 engines. Because this bell housing bolt pattern here, this is almost the same as in the M50X engines, so M54, M52, M52TU, M50 and so on. These two main bolts here, these are in the exactly same location, and these have the dowels to actually line up the transmission. So this lines up perfectly to the engine. These upper bolts here, these are a little bit too wide here, but you can grind away a little bit metal here to actually get the little bit narrower bolt pattern that M50 engines have. Then I think there's some of the smaller bolts that even fit too, and the main difference is that the starter mounting in the N54 and N55, the starter mounts to the block. There's a little bit material here, and then it bolts to the transmission. So that's something that we need to take account of, and for that we have this kind of adapter. So this little bit mimics the N54 and N55 mounting for the starter. So this just goes here, and then you need to put on some bolts, and the starter mounts to this transmission like this. And yeah, pretty much like that, this is ready to be bolted in the engine. Then this torque converter or clutch and torque converter package, however you want to call this. This needs something special, and the thing that you can use is the N54 8-bolt crank flex plate here that I don't have here, but you will see that later on the video. That will bolt directly to the M50 series cranks, and then it will also bolt directly to this HHP converter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There's nothing really anything special to actually mount this. Of course you need to do the drive shaft and the rear mount and that kind of things, but we will get to that later on the video. I will get to the smaller details of installing this transmission to the car later, and you will see those on the live video. But the last major thing is to how I will control this. I think there's like 3 major controllers that you can use with this. I don't even consider one of those as a viable option to control these HHP transmissions. So there's a turbulamic, and then there's a CANTCU. And I would say that if you are building race car that you maybe take a little bit on the street and you really need the virtual clutch, or that's maybe for some that might be the only reason. But anyways, in that case I would go with the turbulamic, because that will actually replace this original TCU inside the transmission, and in that way you will get the full control of this transmission, and you can tune it in the way that you want to make this actually work, and you have the full control for everything here. But I built street cars that you can maybe a little bit race, so if you are doing street car also, then I would go with the CANTCU, which is this one here, because at least for my opinion this is absolutely the best option when you want to actually have the good working street cars, because with this thing you get the stock drivability and reliability and everything. This is the most important thing for street car, because you really want to have the car nice to drive on the street, or otherwise you don't want to drive the car at all. So yeah, if you have not that good tune on the transmission, it will not be nice to drive on the street. It's actually quite easy to tune the engine and the transmission and everything for like full throttle pulse and everything, but then if you want to have nice drivability on the street, it's not that easy anymore. But because with the CANTCU it will run the original GCU, and if you run the original software in the transmission, then you have the original drivability and everything. And of course there's a lot of different tunes for the original TCUs for this nowadays, so you can do a lot of things even with the stock TCU. So it's not really a limitation nowadays. This CANTCU here, this works best with the OEM ECUs that these BMWs have, but of course this also supports a lot of different aftermarket ECUs. The thing that you need from the ECUs to have drive-by-wire and some kind of torque model. The aftermarket ECUs like Haltech and Max-Eco and that kind of things, they have both of those things, so there's no problem to use those with the CANTCU. But for my build, I will use this MS45.1 ECU that can do the E60 and newer CAN buses, so I will have the better control for this transmission. But for you others watching this video, I don't think this is the best option for this. I don't even know if this will work out or not, so let's see. But if you want to do this kind of HHP swap for M50 or M52 or M54, I would recommend you using this MS43 ECU, because this is fully supported with the CANTCU currently. This is not the perfect ECU to use with the CANTCU, but it's proven and it works great. The only big problem is that there's no throttle blips on this as a stock, but there's already patch for this to have that. I don't know if it's public yet or not, but yeah, I don't know. But anyways, and also the torque modeling, it's a bit rough and that kind of things, but yeah, this will work great, and you can actually use this with the single vanos engines, because Alpina also uses this on their engines, that those are just modified M50 engines with the vanos. So with the Alpina Flash you can actually use this in the single vanos M50 and M52 engines, so that's also option if you want to do this like the stock engine for the E36. But I think this is enough talk. I could talk about these things for like a couple of hours, but nobody wants to hear that. So yeah, let's actually do this swap and talk about the smaller details as we go on. If you have any questions about this 8HP swaps or CANTCU or anything like that, you can post on the comments. But yeah, let's actually do this swap and see how it goes. And this is the transmission I will use. This is HHP 45 from M135i or something, I don't know. There's also N54 flex plate that should bolt onto this and also direct to the engine. And I have some oil cooler lines there, driveshaft parts. Then I have the service kit and that kind of things. So yeah, I think next step will be to drop out the stock manual transmission from the E36 and then try to fit that one. But it's still quite much winter outside, so it's below zero outside where we have the lift. So I think I will do some kind of dry fit with all the parts with some kind of spare block to make sure that everything fits. I've cut down the bolt holes and everything, so I know that this fits easily when it's time to actually put that on the car. Because yeah, it will be annoying to work on the cold outside. So yeah, let's do the dry fit with the parts here on the floor, see how the oil and everything work. And when I know everything fits, then we will actually go outside and drop out the manual trans and swap this in. Aina tää lyhkäsin niin koko.
Tossa on yksi longboy.
Joo, tää. Vituuttainen longboy.
Mitä?
Hirviä mä pyörittää.
Ne on kyllä elämän raskasta. Se, joka aina huutelee siihen. Katoppa, meni aika pinkiäksi tuo kokistelu. Pultti oli huono.
Tai sitten on paskakielet tuossa lopussa.
Väkisellä.
Väkisellä.
Nyt kun startti pistetään sitten siihen.
Pistetään sitten tuohon. Ja siinä pitää olla pultit. Ja se startti on.
No onko se autossa paikalla?
Tässä.
Onko uusi startti? Sä otit pois?
Otin tän pois.
Jaa, sä
halusin lämpimässä ottaa tämän.
Erikoista.
Tää nämä Jussin pultit. Tää. Niin onko tämä täällä? Mä luulen, että tämä tulee tähän. Joku tämä tulee täältä läpi näin.
Joo.
Tuohon. Tämä tulee tuohon. Ja sitten me tarvitaan se kohdistuttaa. Eli pitää eka pistää tämä tuohon latuun starttiin. Niin kuin tämä pistetään.
Hirvan parran räikä.
Viimeisen päälle. Elikkä näin. Ja näin.
Mutta se jos on siinä startissa kiinni se palikka, niin eihän sillä ole sillä tapilla tosiaan.
No siis se vaan kohistaa tämä nyt.
Tässä on vasara, josta on nyt.
Tuo ei jokkis vasara. Vittu se meni kuin isää äiti. Onko ensimmäinen pillettiosa tuohon autoon? Eikö on siinä se adapteri sille damperille?
Niin ja tuo laturin työ.
Se. Noin. Sitten täältä vielä nämä pultit. Eikö niin, se on se liikki, joo se. Tähän tulee myös imusen rauta. Tässä on ollut kiinnike sille liittimelle, mikä on nakusempi kuin mä manasin jo aikaisemmin, että vittu tätä tiukka paikkaa, niin nyt se ei kyllä mahdu siinä olemaan. Se liitin pitää laittaa kyllä muualle. Sormen. Hyvä!
Kyllä se taitaa sinne.
Kyllä se taitaa sinne. Nyt on kaikki pultit paikallaan.
Johonkin auto. Turbiini onko siinä paikalla?
Putsutaan nuo lastut pois ja käytetään turbiini pois ja tuosta pullista ulospäin. Mitä on tulossa? Nyt!
Nyt ei tullut ottaa pois. Näytäpä tänne. Mitä se on kovaan tuntunut?
En tiedä. Sitten vielä uusi paikalleen paskomatta sitä.
Lui ohkanen vielä.
Ja se on meno henki.
Eikö jautessaan käytetä se laatikkokin auki? Katsotaan mitä se on syödä. Mistä nää tiedät, millä se on perillä asti? Se loksa jollottelee.
Sinne hyvä sitä valoista väliä.
Vitun mieleen kun sitä roadkillistä, kun ne laittelee näitä turpia, niin 3 kertaa loksahtaa, että sitten on perillä vasta.
No se loksahti 3 kertaa. Mä uskon, että se on paikalla.
Mä uskon, nyt kuulosti se niin vakuuttavia kloksauksia, että se meni perille.
Mutta
eikö siinä ollut 3 semmoista eri puolia?
Joo. Eikä se oo vastaan paikalla.
Ei, katso kuljettaa paikalla. Tuo tarkasta nyt tuo nupikka, että se mahtuu sinne akselin sisään.
Mikä?
Tuo nuppi.
Tämäkö?
Niin.
On näitä laitettu kyllä.
On näitä laitettu. Me ei oo me laitettu.
Ei. Eiköhän se mene.
Ne näette irrotus kun Autodokin opetus. No hyvin ne Autodokin videot on siellä. Just jotain ruosteista tukivartaasta, kun ensin näyttää kun pultit irti, sitten tulee katko ja sitten se vaan nostaa sen pois. Vittu siinä välissä on vähän kammettu varmaan.
Aavistuksen korotus pois.
Saako sitä ottaa tästä pois? Saako sitä ottaa tästä pois?
Ei, mutta kun nää niin semmosia 3 tuuman kisakat.
Nyt tiedä pääsi.
Ota näyttäjä se olisi.
Ottaa sieltä.
Elämää kaunista kannattaa. Mitä nää hommat?
Ainoa siinä.
Se on viimeinen puu.
Niin.
Laskemaan. Tää on alemmasta, eli se ottaa tuonne tunnelin päälle. Oho!
Minä käännetään konetta niistä löysässä. Saakka.
Laske vaan.
Joo, se irti. On se irti. Jää vaan huolessa. Ja kun mä koitin muistaa, että näistä mä konetaskin vaan tuonne eteenpäin, niin se on vähän vittu. Tää muistaa pistää palikka tuonne alle, kun otetaan uusi paikalle. Hei, se on, mutta onko sulla vielä se vitu kumilirppake?
Oo, mut tää on oikein kiinteästi korjattu.
Eikä.
Oh. No millä se lähtee? Mitä se haittaa?
Ylimääräistä painoa!
Totta, joo. Eikö se pistä molemmille puolille se meissi? Nyt se lähti. Nyt se lähti. Nyt se lähti. Nyt se lähti. Ja nyt se piti repiä sekin.
Oikein.
Joo, siinä. Hop, 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 hop.
Vittu, tarttu tuon lampun mangrin tuohon kattoon. Ota mihin?
Äkää. Joo, vielä. Vielä. Näyttää liian hyvin mahtuu.
Täällä alkaa olla jos.
Täälläkin on tilaa kun laittaa keskelle. Kuin se vedättää tuo moottorin kiinni?
Totta. Mihin nyt se johonkin vielä ottaa kiinni?
Pikkusen ylemmäs, ihan snadi.
Snadisti.
Hop, siinä.
Suora sana.
Nyt alkaa
Minäpä tiedän.
No, oi vittu. Näitä on, kato.
Eikö oteta takaisinpäin?
No, pakko.
Eikö kun joku jättänyt se?
Katoppa. No hei, mutta otti tohon kiinni.
Mihin?
Tohon.
Ottaako?
Tohonkin otti kiinni. Tää oli niinku kosketuksessa. Tässä on se
Haetaan tussia.
virkaa tai jo. Työnnä se siihen, mä haet tussi. Otan tussi.
Joo, ja sitten katsotaan mun yrittää katsoa pois, kun mulla ei tuo sovitusholkki tuonne vittu paikalle.
Mikä se on?
Siis se. Tää ohjuriholkki jäi tuolla. Joo, pikkusen sitä pitää. Ja itse aika paljon. Katso ainakin tämä kokonaan tuo pultin vaikka sitä voi. Hoksaatko?
Joo, mä nyt verkkaan kuitenkin.
Niin, siitä.
Varmaan tuosta ja...
Automata, no joo.
Tässä verkkaa sitä.
Mä verkkaan tuosta. Noniin. Oli BMW oikein. Vittu, se on joka paikassa niskassa.
Tässä on lunta.
Tämä Tero on niin jokaisen euron arvoinen, mitä tää maksaa.
Se on vähän harmi, kun se on pikkusen mennyt mutkalle. Niin.
Ei joku se... No, mutta tämä kato pistää perille asti, niin ei se heilu silloin.
Otapa nuo pullenahlakaan.
Mä otan kun niskassa noitan sitten kotiseen.
Nyt alkaa olla. Täältä istahti. Siltä puolelta kattaa.
Kyllä heti.
Jos pistää löysetään
Heti.
tuo pois.
Heti
Ei, tiedätkö mitä? Otatko tuon tuolta välistä?
Pistä nyt eka nämä kiinni.
Pitääkö me katkaista tuo?
Ei kato. Ei vittu.
Se auki tuo.
Me katkaista.
Vittu. Ei me enää ruveta. On noita tossa jo liikaa.
Ei se ollutkaan ihan hyvä idea tuohon mistä.
Ei sitä saa sitä.
Ei. Ei saatana. Jos on millään kivitetty.
Mikä?
Mitä puhutte?
No siis entä jatkolle tuolta päästä? Ei sinne saa kyllä jatkoa.
Mutta saadaan me se katsoa sen jatkolla sitten tuolta kiinni.
Ja ihan väärästä päästä. No niin.
sitten.
Sitten se lyhyempi lenkki on, että...
Vittu, tämä täytyy. Aina menee tämmösen. Niin nyt se sun jatkopaketti, mikä sulla on viime ne on vaan jotkut semmoset. En tiedä mitkä ne.
Se nyt ei oo suorassa. Vai jääkö, tuleeko se karttaan, niin sehän sivuun.
Eikö tuo kato hemmää?
Kyllä on hyvin tilaa.
Ei se ihan suorassa vaan. Kummiskin.
On sillä tilaa mennä ylös.
Joo. Joo, se tapestaa tuosta.
Tämähän on niinkö tehty. On sillä sen verran paino, että se nostaa. Katoppa täältä.
No.
Sä saat kaikki pultit täältä laittaa.
Saako? No ei, nyt on enemmän tilaa satana kuin tuot sen.
Kun sä nyt väännättää tätä moottoria.
Kylmä tullut, ei kyllä hirveän kauan kehtaa tässä pihalla.
No turbiini ainakin kiinni. Mitä me voidaan muuta oikein mallata täällä enää mikä...
Mä ois mietin, että...
No koko ei sitäkään.
Mä ois mietin, että ois me pitänyt ottaa...
Kartani mitata.
Niin, ja mä sitä edes mietin, että ois mennä työntää sisälle ja... Ois sitten voinut tuon startin ja...
Joo, kyllä nyt kannattaa kartaanista mittaa ottaa. Mitä ei tehdä?
Niin, mutta sitä mä työntää huomenna takaisin ja... Rupee tekemään sitä kannaketta.
Vittu ees takaisin hängätä tähän. Kyllä se...
Lämpimässä vois tehdä sitä imusarit ennen takaisin.
Nyt on muuten semmonen peliliru siinä, että lähtee kyllä lähteä kynsistä.
Toisaalta ei taas millään sisään.
Vittu ees takaisin saatana tää.
Here I have the stuff to connect this transmission to the car, so I have the driveshaft ready and painted now. I did just put some basic black paint and that's fine. For that I need the guibo, which is here, new one. This is made in Germany, quality one with new bolts. Then we have the rubber mounts for the transmission. These are Corteco. This seems to be identical to the original ones that came with this F30 transmission mount to the trans itself. So that's there. Some new bolts. Then I got this from my YouTube subscriber. So this is Z4 6 HP transmission mount or bracket or what you want to call. This should fit the car and also fit the 8 HP 45. I'm not 100% sure about that, but we'll see. It came with this. I think this is for GS6 manual 6-speed transmission. This of course doesn't fit the 8 HP, but it fits here. But this is what I got from Ovogo. So this is F30 8 HP transmission rear mount that used to be with rubber mounts, and this should fit the transmission, and it also fits here. But again, I don't know if this fits the car, but we'll see. But yeah, we need to throw this in and see how this works out. If this doesn't fit, we need to make this new one, or if this doesn't fit, we need to make that one new. So okay, even this Z4 brace, this doesn't seem to work in. It seems to be so that it fits the car, but yeah, it doesn't fit with this transmission. It should be around here. So yeah, that's not going to work. So I need to make my own brace here, but I don't think it needs to be anything special because engine is so front heavy that it takes some of the transmission weight. So some kind of bracket here should be fine. I need to make that one.
Jaksaa vääntää.
Se on hyvin helposti. Ei edes tiukkaa. Tää vittu. The finished trans brace looks like this. Well, quite simple one, but I think this should be sturdy enough and work fine. Not the best thing ever, but let's try how this works out. Well, okay, it's a little bit too flimsy. I need to do some kind of reinforcement for this. I think I will put like straight piece of metal to here, and that should reinforce this quite a bit. And maybe put something here to these nutter bolt holes, but it's so annoying here on the floor, so I think that's fine for now. I will get this outside to the lift when it's better, when the weather is better, and then I will remake this. Well, not remake, modify this to be sturdier, but yeah, I can continue now with this thing. And I think I need to stop this video here and split this to two parts, because this is already quite long and there is many things still to cover. So yeah, I really need to split this to two parts. In the next one, we are going to do the wiring for the CANTCU. Kenneth will flash the original TCU so that it will work with the CANTCU. And then of course we need to do the oil lines and the coolant lines and everything. So yeah, let's continue the next one.